What's up, everyone? We're going to be going through the best WNBA player props on PrizePicks today. And I did want to show you the results from yesterday's picks from my exclusive Discord group, and even though we didn't have WNBA, we actually got 22 picks correct, which was absolutely insane. Now, a lot of you comment wanting to see how many I got wrong, and I thought I'd show you in today's video. We only got 2 picks wrong and got 22 right, which is a 95% win rate. Yes, guys, you heard that right. 95% win rate. So we're on a huge hot streak, but if you want to get a 95% win rate and get 22 picks right like me, win more bets and receive the best picks from some of the best bettors in the world for less than a cup of coffee, you can access the exclusive Discord and meet some of the best sport bettors in the game by joining my Patreon, which will be linked down below in the description. Once you join, you'll have complete access to the Discord and can start winning more bets today. So make sure to join my Patreon using the link in the description. And here's one of our members who just signed up and won himself $300 just yesterday, and another member who won $1,175 for the 4th day in a row since joining my Discord. So guys, if you want to win big money like our members, the link will be in the description. So go join the Patreon to have access to the Discord group. And I will be continuing to upload every single day on this channel, the best bets and props. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss my daily uploads. So quick shout out to RBFoxer7690 who said, yo, let's go. And shout out to Tyreek Robinson 3924 who spammed up the fire emoji. So shouts out to them. And if you do want to win a shout out in the next video, all you have to do is comment down below in this video and like it, and you can be in the running to win a shout out in the next one. Alright, so let's get straight into the first pick. And when it comes to these picks, I'm not saying to chuck all of them into a parlay and hope for the best. Pick and choose the ones that you like and the ones that work best for you. So the first pick we're talking about is none other than Jonquel Jones, and this one is actually for 8.5 rebounds, and this one is for less. Now, looking at Jonquel Jones, we actually have seen her go in the under in 4 out of the last 5 games. Now, looking at those 5 games, we do see on August 9th, faced off against Dallas Wings, had 6 rebounds there. Then August 11th, faced off against Minnesota, had 6 rebounds there. Then August 13th, faced off against LA Sparks, had 11 rebounds there. Then August 14th, faced off against Las Vegas Aces, had 7 rebounds. And then August 17th, faced off against Minnesota and had 6 rebounds there. Now, coming into this matchup, we do also know when it comes to Jonquel Jones and New York Liberty, they do find themselves in a very good matchup against Minnesota Lynx. Now, this is definitely going to be an exciting game between both of these teams. And looking at where both of these teams do actually lie, we do know, starting off with actually New York Liberty. New York Liberty do actually rank 3rd in the WNBA. Not only do they rank 3rd in the WNBA, but they also rank 2nd in the Eastern Conference. They actually have a record of 21 wins and 13 losses. That's a 61.8% win percentage. They also 13-4 at home, 8-9 from away, and also are currently on a 2-game losing streak. So it has been a little bit tough for Liberty as of lately, but now they are looking to try to bounce back as it is against Minnesota Lynx. And looking at Minnesota Lynx, Minnesota do come in at the number 1 spot in the WNBA. Not only do they have the number 1 spot in the WNBA, but they also have the number 1 spot when it actually comes to the Western Conference as well. They actually have a record of 28 wins and 5 losses, which is also interesting to see. But on top of that, we also see that they do have, 28-5, as we mentioned, 84.8% win percentage. They're also 17-1 at home, 11-4 from away, and are currently actually on a 6-game win streak. So because of that, we definitely have seen this be pretty interesting because we have seen Minnesota Lynx just absolutely do a fantastic job all season, while on the other side, New York Liberty have actually, unfortunately, dropped a ranking. They used to be actually 2nd. But coming into this matchup and looking at where Minnesota Lynx do rank, Minnesota Lynx do actually rank 5th when it comes to rebounds allowed. So Minnesota Lynx actually do a fantastic job at restricting rebounds, and that is a no-brainer sign to us on why we do like the under for this situation here. On top of that, we also do know when it comes to Jonquel Jones, we actually have seen when it comes to Jonquel, we have seen her usage rate be much more on the lower side as of lately. We just haven't seen her usage rate be that well. And the fact that Minnesota Lynx also do a fantastic job at restricting rebounds to the center position, we definitely make that, a very clear case on why we do like the under for it. Now, looking at someone like Jonquel, we also have seen average over the last 5 is 7.2. So significantly below this line as well. Now, coming into this matchup, we do very much like the over due to the fact ranked for all these different reasons, and this one is just kind of a no-brainer to us. When we look at what the bookies are saying, bookies also have a favorite for the under as well, so that works out in our favor there. So Jonquel Jones, 8.5 rebounds for less, I think is a fantastic pick. Now, getting into the next one, we're actually going to be talking about none other than Satou Sabally. So, Satou, great player from none other than Phoenix Mercury, and this one is actually for 5.5 rebounds, but this one actually is for more. So, same sort of line in the sense that it is rebounds, but this one is actually for the over. And looking at Satou Sabally, we actually have seen her go on the over in 3 out of the last 5 games. Looking at those 5 games, you see on August 6th, faced off against Connecticut Sun, had 6 rebounds there. Then August 8th, faced off against Indiana, had 8 rebounds there. Then August 11th, faced off against Atlanta, had 5 rebounds. August 16th, faced off against Las Vegas Aces, had 5 rebounds. And then August 18th, faced off against Seattle Storm and had 10 rebounds there. So it is pretty interesting to see, obviously, looking at, Satou Sabally and how she has done over the last 5 games. It has been much in her favor. She has gone on the over, as I mentioned, in 3 out of the last 5. But we also have seen the times that she has missed this line, she's gotten very, very close. So, somewhat convincing to us there. Now, coming into this, matchup as well, what we also do see when it comes to this is we do also, or have seen, Satou Sabally not only just do a fantastic job, but her average over the last 5 being 6.8. And Phoenix Mercury do find themselves in a matchup against Golden State Valkyries. Now, it is going to be an exciting game there. Now, looking at where both of these teams do rank, we do actually see, so starting off with Satou Sabally, we have seen Phoenix Mercury do a fantastic job, or Phoenix Mercury have actually, come in and ranked 4th in the WNBA. Not only they rank 4th in the WNBA, but they also have a record of 20 wins and 13 losses. That's also a 60.6% win percentage. Not only are they 4th in the WNBA, but they also come in at the 2nd spot in the Western Conference. They have a record of 11-6 at home, 9-7 from away, and also are currently on a 1-game win streak. So looking at this one, we do very, very much like this situation, as we do like, the over for this situation here. When it comes to someone like Satou Sabally, we do very, very much like this situation and where they do rank, because they face off against Golden State Valkyries, who rank a little bit lower, and Valkyries do come in at the 7th spot in the WNBA. Now, they rank 4th in the Western Conference as well. They have a record of 18 wins and 16 losses. That's a 52.9% win percentage. And they are also 10-6 from home, 8-10 from away, and are currently on a 1-game losing streak. Now, looking at Golden State Valkyries and where they do actually rank defensively, we do know when it comes to Valkyries, we do see them come in actually at the 6th spot when it comes to rebounds allowed. So it has been a little bit interesting for them there. Looking at that, we have actually seen that when it comes to, Satou Sabally, she is a great player. She does play forward, and Golden State Valkyries also do a pretty poor job at restricting, rebounds to the actual forward position. So they really do struggle there, and that's why we definitely see someone like Sabally being able to go on the over. When it comes to Sabally, she is a great rebounder. Golden State Valkyries overall, even just as a team, don't really rank too well. Nothing really convincing enough to us, and that's why we do very much like the over for this situation here. So I definitely would keep an eye out for someone like Satou Sabally coming into this matchup, and we do very, very much like the over for this situation, as when we look at what the bookies are saying, bookies also have us favored for the over as well. So for that reason, keep an eye out for the over for this situation for Satou Sabally. So 5.5 rebounds, Satou Sabally for the more, I think is a fantastic pick. Now, getting into the next one, we're going to be talking about another great player, and that is none other than actually A'ja Wilson. So A'ja Wilson, great player, as we all know. And this one is actually a fantastic one for points, for 24.5 points. However, this one is for less. Now, looking at A'ja Wilson, we actually have seen her go in the under in 1 out of the last 5 games. Looking at those 5 games, you see on August 9th, faced off against Seattle, had 29 points there. August 11th, faced off against Connecticut Sun, had 32 points. August 14th, faced off against New York Liberty, had 17 points. Then 30 points against Phoenix on August 16th. And then on the 18th, faced off against Dallas and had 34 points there. So it is pretty interesting to see. Obviously, looking at A'ja Wilson, we have seen her go in the under, as I mentioned, in 1 out of the last 5 games. But coming into this matchup, it is a bit of an interesting one because we have also seen when it comes to A'ja Wilson, her average over the last 5 is 28.4. So, slightly, above her line. But coming into this matchup, we do know Las Vegas Aces face off against Atlanta Dream. Now, looking at where both of these teams do rank, starting off with the Aces, we do know Aces come in at the 5th spot in the WNBA. And not only do they come in at the 5th spot in the WNBA, but they also do rank, not only 5th, but also 3rd in the Western Conference. Now, they have a record of 21 wins and 14 losses. That's a 60% win percentage. They're also 12-5 from home, 9-9 from away, and are currently on a 7-game win streak. So, Aces have actually been doing a fantastic job. They have been able to really, blitz through it as of lately. And they face off against Atlanta Dream, where Atlanta Dream have actually bumped up their ranking and now find themselves in the 2nd spot in the WNBA. They're ranked first in the Eastern Conference as well, 22-12 record with a 64.7% win percentage. They're also 10-5 at home, 12-7 from away, and are currently on a 1-game win streak. So Atlanta Dream have honestly been fantastic, and not only that, but when it comes to points allowed, Atlanta Dream do actually rank 3rd. And when you look on top of everything else, Atlanta Dream rank very high when it comes to restricting points to the center position. So looking at someone like A'ja Wilson, although she is a great player and although she has done a fantastic job over the last 5 games, this matchup is a very, very different matchup as she has faced off against much easier teams. But coming into this next one, we definitely are expecting the over for this situation here. So I definitely would keep an eye out for someone like A'ja Wilson coming into this matchup. We do very, very much like this situation for the under for someone like A'ja Wilson, due to the fact that time and time again, Atlanta Dream have shown that they are a great defensive team and great at restricting, in this case, points. So for that reason, keep an eye out for the under. As I've always mentioned, we look at what the bookies are saying. Bookies also are favored for the under as well. So A'ja Wilson, 24.5 points for less, I think is a great, great pick. Alright, so as you all know, I do want to get these picks out to you as soon as possible, but PrizePicks is delayed with some of their lines. So here are a couple of players you should definitely watch out for when their lines drop. So the first player we're going to be talking about is none other than Natisha Hedman. Now, Natisha is a fantastic player for none other than Minnesota Lynx, and Minnesota Lynx also have been doing quite a great job. Now, when we actually look at Natisha so far this season, we have seen her actually average 7.7 points, also 1.8 rebounds, 2.8 assists, and also 0.5 steals. So she's done a fantastic job there. And when we look at someone like Natisha, we do know Minnesota Lynx do face off against none other than New York Liberty. Now, this is definitely going to be an exciting game, looking at where both of these teams do actually rank. Starting off with Minnesota Lynx, we do know Minnesota do come in at the actual #1 spot in the WNBA. They are the best team in the WNBA by a landslide, and they also rank #1 in the Western Conference. But we also do know they have a record of 28 wins and 5 losses. That's an 84.8% win percentage, which is fantastic to see. And on top of that, they are 17-1 at home, 11-4 at away, and are currently on a 6-game win streak. So Minnesota Lynx have been on an absolute tear, and we are expecting this to kind of continue on into this next game. No doubt about it. But looking at their matchup, they face off against New York Liberty. Now, looking at a team like New York Liberty, we do know how fantastic they actually have done. Liberty do come in at the 3rd spot in the WNBA, and on top of that, we also have seen that when it comes to, also New York Liberty, they do have a record of 21 wins and 13 losses, but they also rank 2nd in the Eastern Conference. So they actually used to lead the Eastern Conference. They actually did lose that spot to Atlanta Dream, but they do now currently have a 61.8% win percentage. They are 13-4 at home, 8-9 from away, and are currently on a 2-game losing streak. So it's definitely been interesting there. Now, looking at someone like Natisha coming into this matchup and looking at where New York Liberty do rank, although Liberty are a great team, they actually rank 7th when it comes to points allowed, 8th when it comes to assists allowed, and when it comes to rebounds allowed, they do rank 13th. So, although we do know that Liberty are a fantastic team, what we have seen time and time again when it actually comes to Liberty is that they do allow a lot of points, rebounds, and assists. And that's a big reason why we do very much like the over for this situation here. Natisha is a great player, and she also does play that guard position. And we have seen New York actually struggle at, restricting points, rebounds, and assists to that position for sure. So we definitely are liking the over for someone like Natisha. Now, looking at Natisha over the last 5 games, we definitely have seen her play really well, and the team in general play well, as they did, win all those 5 games. But starting off with on the third, actually faced off against Las Vegas Aces, had a 111-58 win with 17 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists there. After that, faced off against Seattle on the 6th, and had a 91-87 win with 5 points, 1 rebound, and 2 assists there. After that, also faced off against Washington Mystics on the 9th with an 80-76 win. And in that matchup, actually had 7 points, 0 rebounds, and 2 assists in that matchup. So it's definitely been fantastic for them. When we also look further, we also do see on the 11th, faced off against New York Liberty, had an 83-71 win with 13 points, 0 rebounds, and 1 assist there. So it's definitely been fantastic to see. Obviously, looking at where Natisha Hiedeman has actually found her kind of stride lately, it has been very good for her, but we are expecting that to continue on into this next game, no doubt about it. So when it comes to her line, I don't really think you need to focus on anything in particular. I think she definitely has a capability to definitely go on the over, whether it's points, rebounds, and assists there. So just keep an eye out for her line. When it comes to her line, as I've always mentioned, if the line is under averages, then definitely look to go on the over. Now, getting into the next player, we're actually going to be talking about none other than Shakira Austin. So, Shakira Austin, great player, as we all know, from none other than Washington Mystics. And she's done actually a fantastic job, actually averaging, 12.6 points, 6.6 rebounds, 1.9 assists, and also 1.3 steals. Now, we do know Washington Mystics have themselves, an interesting matchup coming into this next one, as they do face off against Connecticut Sun. Now, as you all know, looking at, a player like a team like Connecticut Sun, and also where Washington Mystics do actually rank. Starting off with the Mystics do come in at the 10th spot in the WNBA, but they also rank 4th in the Eastern Conference. So that's pretty interesting to see there. Now, when we look at actually, someone like Shakira Austin, she has done a great job at putting them in that position, but they have, or are still trying to push and try to get much more further. Now, they have a record of 16 wins and 18 losses, so it's definitely been a little bit interesting. They have a record of a record that has them a win percentage of 47.1%. But on top of that, we also see that they are 10-7 at home, 6-11 from away, and are currently on a 2-game win streak. So it is pretty interesting to see. Obviously, looking at where, Shakira Austin does actually rank, we have definitely seen her do a great job, and the rest of the Mystics team. And then looking at Connecticut Sun, we do know Connecticut Sun do find themselves in the same conference, but actually rank last in the WNBA with a record that has them of 6 wins and 27 losses. So they rank last in the WNBA and last in the Eastern Conference. And that's actually, a WNBA ranking of 13th to be more specific. Now, they have a win percentage of 18.2%, which is honestly insane. There are also 5-12 from home, also 1-15 from away, and are currently on a 1-game win streak. So it is a little bit interesting to see. Obviously, Connecticut Sun haven't really done the most greatest job when it comes to, actually, trying to get some wins, but it is pretty much over for them, I would say, when it comes to trying to make the playoffs. But Washington Mystics are definitely continuing to try to push. Now, looking at where they actually do rank, starting off with actually, where Connecticut Sun do rank defensively when it comes to points allowed, we see that they rank 11th. When it comes to assists allowed, they also do rank 11th, and then rebounds allowed, they do rank 12th. So they rank very poor in all 3 categories. And that's a big reason why we do very much like the over for this situation here. For someone like Shakira Austin, yes, she has done a fantastic job, but we definitely do just expect her to go on the over due to the fact that Connecticut Sun are just naturally a poor defensive team. So we definitely see that having a huge effect on someone like Shakira Austin coming into this matchup. Now, looking at this matchup even further, we do also see when it comes to, Shakira Austin and also the Washington Mystics. Looking at our last 5 games, we did see on the first against Golden State Valkyries, had a 68-67 loss with 10 points, 9 rebounds, and 3 assists there. On the fourth, faced off against Atlanta and had a 99-83 loss, had 16 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists. And then on the sixth, faced off against Chicago Sky, had a 78-64 loss with 8 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist there. Then on the ninth, faced off against Minnesota Lynx with an 80-76 loss there with 12 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists. And then on the 18th, faced off against LA Sparks with a 95-86 win there. So, in that matchup, also had a 14.6 rebound, 3 assist game. But overall, we just have seen Shakira Austin do a fantastic job at, scoring points, rebounding, and playmaking. No matter whether it's an easy team or a hard team, we definitely have seen her remain a pretty good usage rate. And coming into a matchup like this, which is, against Connecticut Sun, which is a much easier team, that is a big, big reason why coming into this one, we do like the over for her. So, definitely keep an eye out for the over for someone like Shakira Austin coming into this game. Keep an eye out for the over. As always mentioned, the line is under averages. Then definitely look to go on the over. Now, getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about Rachel Banham. So, Rachel, great player, as we all know, from none other than Chicago Sky. She's done a great job, actually averaging 9.7 points, 1.6 rebounds, 2.5 assists, and also 0.5 steals. So, we definitely have seen her do a fantastic job there. Now, when we look at someone like Rachel Banham, Chicago Sky, we actually do know, when it comes to this matchup, they face off against Seattle Storm. So, it is going to be a great game at that. Now, looking at where both these teams do actually lie, we do know, starting off with Chicago Sky do come in at the 12th spot in the WNBA. And not only that, but we also do know that they actually rank pretty low. They rank 5th in the Eastern Conference. So low overall and also low in their conference. Now, they have a record of actually 8 wins and 25 losses, which is a 24.2% win percentage. So it hasn't really been too well for them. They are 5-12 from home, 3-13 from away, and are currently on a 4-game losing streak. Now they face off against none other than actually, Seattle Storm, where Seattle Storm do come in at the 8th spot in the WNBA, but also have a similar conference ranking as they do also rank 5th. Now, when we look at Seattle Storm, they have fallen off quite a bit. Now, they do actually have a record of 17 wins and 18 losses. That's a 48.6% win percentage. And on top of that, they are 8-10 from home, 9-8 from away, and are currently also on a 1-game losing streak. So it's definitely been a little bit tough for Seattle Storm. They are definitely looking to try to change things around and see if they can turn things around for sure. But coming into this matchup, it's definitely been a little bit difficult from them. And we are expecting, a game where they really try to get this win. But this is more about the props than anything else. And looking at Seattle Storm defensively, we do know Storm still do come in at the 5th spot when it comes to points allowed, 5th when it comes to assists allowed. And then rebounds allowed, they do rank 11th. So they rank pretty high in points and assists, but a little bit lower in rebounds. And that's why coming into this one, we do actually like the under for someone like Rachel, but strictly just for points and assists here. Now, a big reason being for that is that when we actually look at someone like Rachel Banham, what we have seen is that we actually do see that, Rachel also has a bit of a higher usage rate in points and assists. So that's definitely working out to our favor there. When we actually look at it, we do very much like the under, as I mentioned, with the points and assists. But looking at Rachel over the last 5 games, we do see something pretty interesting. We do see on the 6th, faced off against Washington Mystics, had a 78-64 win with 5 points, 1 rebound, 4 assists there. Then on the 8th, faced off against Atlanta, had an 86-65 loss with 18 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists in that matchup. And then on the 10th, faced off against Indiana Fever with a 92-70 loss with 11 points, 0 rebounds, 3 assists there. And then on the 14th, faced off against Connecticut Sun, had a 71-62 loss there with 10 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists. And then against Golden State Valkyries on the 16th, and had 90-59 loss with 15 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists there. So it is pretty interesting to see. Now, obviously, coming into this matchup, we do very, very much like the under, as I mentioned, in points and assists for. We actually have seen Rachel struggle against tougher defensive teams, and that's what we are expecting to happen again coming into this game. So keep an eye out for the under, as I mentioned with Rachel. Keep an eye out more strictly and more, I would say, or more focus on points and assists than anything else. Now, getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about Brittney Griner. So, Brittney Griner, great player, as we all know, from none other than Atlanta Dream. Now, she has done a fantastic job, actually averaging 10.2 points, 5.4 rebounds, 0.8 assists, and 0.1 steals. So, it is pretty interesting to see because when we look at Brittney Griner, and also their matchup that Atlanta Dream do have, they face off against the Las Vegas Aces. So it is going to be an exciting game, and looking at where both of these teams do rank, we do see something pretty interesting because Atlanta Dream has stolen the show because they currently now rank second in the WNBA. They were ranked third and fourth for a long time, and they were able to finally take that number 2 spot. And not only that, but they've also taken the number 1 spot in the Eastern Conference. So they now lead their conference, and they have a record of 22 wins and 12 losses. They are, only 1 game ahead of Liberty, so it is definitely going to still be very, very interesting. And I do actually have a record of a 64.7% win percentage. They are 10-5 at home, 12-7 from away, and are currently on a 1-game win streak. Now, coming into this matchup, it's definitely going to be an interesting one because we do also see when it comes to Brittney Griner and also Atlanta Dream, facing off against the Aces, we find that Aces do come in at the actual 5th spot in the WNBA. Not only do they come in at the 5th spot at the WNBA, but we also do see that they also rank 3rd in the Western Conference. They actually have a record of 21 wins and 14 losses, which is a 60% win percentage. Now, when we look at that, we also do see they also have a home record of 12-5, 9-9 from away, and also a 7-game win streak. Now, looking at that, we also do see when it comes to Brittney Griner, we have definitely seen, her play fantastic. But coming into this matchup as well, we also do know, looking at the Aces do rank 9th when it comes to points allowed, 9th when it comes to assists allowed, and 9th when it comes to rebounds allowed. So it is pretty interesting that they do rank the exact same in all 3 categories, but on top of that, they rank very, very low in all those 3 categories. So that's why coming into this matchup, we do very much like, the over for this situation here. So when we look at someone like Brittney Griner, we definitely have seen her do a fantastic job time and time again. And coming into this matchup, we do like the over once again for someone like Brittney Griner, whether it's points, rebounds, and assists. However, knowing Prize Picks, we are expecting more of a line to come out for points and rebounds here, due to the fact that when you look at someone like Brittney Griner, we have definitely seen her just do much more of a better job in those 2 categories, which is why we are a little bit more focused on that. So definitely keep an eye out there. Now, looking at someone like Brittney, we also have seen over the last 5 games. On the 31st, faced off against Dallas, had an 88-85 win there, with actually 4 points, 4 rebounds, and 1 assist. Then on the 11th, faced off against Phoenix Mercury, had a 74-66 win with 2 points, 2 rebounds, and 1 assist. Then on the 14th, faced off against Seattle Storm, had an 85-75 win with 11 points, 8 rebounds, and 1 assist there. Then on the 16th, faced off against Seattle Storm, had an 80-78 loss with 10 points, 3 rebounds, and 0 assists there. Then on the 18th, faced off against Golden State Valkyries, had a 79-63 win with 8 points, 6 rebounds, and 1 assist in that matchup. So we definitely have seen Brittney Griner do a fantastic job at times, and especially has been able to take advantage when teams, unfortunately, are really poor when it comes to defense. So we are expecting her to do the exact same thing coming into this game. Take advantage of poor defensive teams, and no disrespect to them, but Las Vegas Aces are a poor defensive team, and Brittney Griner should be able to take advantage there. So for that reason, keep an eye out for the over for this one for someone like Brittney Griner coming into this situation.